What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Strong Minded Podcast, the best place for self improvement if you're a man looking to level up your life. On today's episode, we have Matthew Hyman, who is a dating coach. He's going to introduce himself now. So, hey, Matthew, how's it going, brother?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on. As you said there, I am a full-time dating coach. I'm a not just dating, I do lifestyle PTing. I'm kind of like a life coach for these men that I look after, take under my wing. A holistic coach, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's been a long journey, but I'm getting there.
Awesome, brother. It's a pretty trendy niche. So, how did you get into dating coaching?
So I started making content around 2 years ago. It was all lifestyle, biohacks, fitness stuff. And then I made the odd dating TikTok, dating Instagram video, whatever it was. And because of the content that I was consuming, it was all pretty much dating stuff. And I found that my content slowly went towards dating stuff. I was getting traction. I blew up to 220K on TikTok in 6 months before I got banned on that account. And I went from there. Then I started getting a ton of guys reaching out, asking for advice. Whilst I'm creating content, I'm reading, consuming content, learning about psychology. And then from then, I started coaching, started off small, low ticket, even free with some guys, and then just went up from there. And then, yeah, a few years later, here I am.
Nice, man. So, obviously, we've both kind of been cancelled a little bit on the internet from posting controversial content. How did that
Mhm.
impact you in your life?
Um, it came with a bit of a shock more than anything else because I will say I was very naive to think that I could do what I was doing now. What I was doing wasn't even particularly controversial, I would say. It was more just with the current landscape of the way things were, I should have had more foresight to see how certain things would come across. So when I'm posting certain podcast clips, when I'm saying certain triggering words, I should have known myself that this shit is not going to fly and it's going to get banned, which it did. And then the articles came out about me again, my own naivety, thinking that the media would actually want to, see my point of view, see my side of things, which is absolutely not the case. But lesson learned, never trust the media. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, as far as how much it impacted me, the initial feeling was a bit like fucking hell, like what is this? Like it was very negative. Obviously, my it wasn't good for anybody else around me. But you come out of it, mate, and things get forgotten about pretty fast. So yeah, but I know you still to this day receive a lot of shit because your content's very abrasive. So I mean, how do you deal with that stuff?
Um, I mean it tests you as a person. I think it's just learning to deal with the facts that not everyone's gonna like you and being okay with that. I think it builds resilience at the end of the day. So it's one of those where you can either choose to be a victim, you can choose to take on heat and just like use it as a source of victimhood and feeling like victimized, or you can just take another perspective and just be like, look, this is what I'm receiving because I'm putting out a certain message, and this kind of stuff that I'm receiving, this hate, abuse, whatever, is only going to build me into a more resilient, stronger person that is going to mean I'm going to be more successful in the future. So it's one of those where
Yeah,
you can choose the way you perceive it.
absolutely. Yeah, and I've messaged you a few times as well because you were or you are doing what I was doing, which is like I was going for the most abrasive approach possible. Let's piss as many people off as possible. Which, if the algorithms didn't work the way they did, whatever, go for it. But I think you have to learn to play the game because you know that if you say certain things, you talk about things in a certain way, the algorithm will absolutely ruin you basically. And if your business is online and you're relying on these certain platforms to get a message pushed out, you're going to be stunted and you're never going to get the reach that you
Mhm.
need to actually make money. So with me, it's like these days, it's how can I get the message across whilst not
Mhm.
having to say certain words, certain phrases that I don't really need to say. There's plenty of ways to command respect and garner an
Mm,
audience without having to be like, fuck this and fuck that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
about finding that middle ground.
yeah, for sure. Like, obviously, a business is a professional entity at the end of the day, so you need to learn how to take away your emotions and take away the personal aspect of it and see it more as a business. So, like, yeah, with what you're saying, it's kind of you have to learn how to play the game at the end of the day and learn what you can get away with saying and what you can't get away with saying, which is it's a forever changing landscape, to be honest, obviously with wokeism and feminism and all the rest of it. So yeah, I mean, like, what was the article came out like? What was it that like? What was that experience like? Like, talk the audience through a little bit. What happened?
So the Mirror approached me about an article. Obviously, Andrew Tate was very relevant at the time. Not that he's not relevant now, but he was very much up in arms because of the allegations surrounding him. And my content was conflated with his because anything male related was kind of grouped together as this like toxic masculinity. You must be an Andrew Tate supporter. This woman approached me from the Mirror saying, "No, we would love to hear your side of things, your story." And I thought, great. I'll go through with this. These two journalists came to my house. The two journalists were very kind, very nice. They really understood where I was coming from. They actually agreed with me on pretty much everything. Andrew Tate wasn't mentioned really, and they went away, and I thought that was a great interview. My housemate, my partner was there at the time as well, and I was very positive, very optimistic. But then following the interview, when it actually came out as a written piece, it was a complete hit piece. The things they mentioned were absolutely it was absolute defamation. It was conflated and created, conjured up from absolutely nowhere. The things we were talking about, I hadn't even said once in my life. The facts they had about me were absolutely wrong. So it was very clear they were just trying to find content to put out and be like, here's another Andrew Tate follower. Look how toxic he is, blah blah blah. Which was very disappointing. It was then published across a few different papers, which wasn't great. I've actually had a couple of them taken down now. So it just shows you if it was very relevant and very true information, they wouldn't have been so easy to take it down. I literally went through Ipso and the Chronicle like that. Yeah, I'll take it down. No worries, mate. As a gesture of goodwill, we'll take it down. And I thought, fuck you, like fucking gesture of goodwill. Obviously, it's bullshit. But yeah, I mean, I'm at a point now where it's like, it's whatever isn't a big deal. But at the time, I was definitely shook by it because, it's not nice when your friends and family are seeing an article about you, which is absolute uh, crap, basically, and not true. And you're sat there going, I didn't say these things, and you're now in a position where you're having to defend yourself, speak about something which is like not even related to my content, but is what it is, mate. Lesson learned. I've got a long career ahead of me, and this is one part of it, mate. It's bound to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it was obviously because I got cancelled from the gym that I was working at due to my content, similar kind of circumstances. But it was, I don't know, like I've always kind of seen myself as a good person. So that is generally the way that I kind of reflect on my own value is feeling like I'm a good, honest person. So like having that kind of um attack on my character made a big impact on me. So how did it like affect you, and how did you deal with that?
Like I say, I really nothing really changed. I continued with the content. There was a few consequences that I had to face, obviously with personal things, but I took it on the chin. I dealt with it. I kept pushing forward. I knew this was a small bump in the road. As much as it upset me, I kept pushing forward, and that was that. How did your work approach you? What did they actually say to you?
So it came out of the blue, to be honest. So I got an email saying that I was suspended as a personal trainer. Um, Obviously looked into it a little bit more and realised that basically I'd shared a few I shared a few reels from one of my personal accounts. So I was using another account basically to speak more unfiltered stuff. So I shared that onto my main account, and obviously, like a few members saw it, a few colleagues saw it. They reported me. So I got an email saying, you know, you've been suspended as a personal trainer. You need to come in and deal with this issue. So I went in for like a bit of an interview slash interrogation where they kind of were playing all my clips and stuff like this. And I was just like, if that offends people, like I'm sorry if that offends people, but that's like that's just what it is. Like that's my content. Like obviously, as you say, like you need to be a little bit careful online now, and I've realized that. But at the same time, um, freedom of speech, like you're allowed to say whatever you want to say online. Like
Well,
that's
supposedly, you're not really though, are you?
you're not really, but like that is like a right. It's like a freedom that people have fought for many years to attain, especially with feminism, and that is exactly what they were. What the first wave of feminism was all about was having the right to vote, you know, having the right to speak, all of this sort of stuff. That is literally what they were fighting for. And then obviously, if you're a guy, you're saying certain things, and you get cancelled, then it kind of goes against what they were fighting for, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your dating coaching. Like, what kind of got you into dating as like a service that you're providing for people? Like, um, what made you want to help other guys in that element?
Like I said before, with the content that I was consuming, I was slowly going more towards dating advice. I was very much interested in that space at the time. That's all I was consuming for the last 2 years: podcasts, books, whatever it is, lectures. I found it interesting. Content was slowly going towards that, and I found more of my videos, again, going towards that genre, that niche. Then I had guys reaching out. I was then giving these guys support, texting them, free sessions, blah blah blah, and then slowly started coaching it to these guys, and then price just went up and up and up from there. Then eventually I was able to, make a full-time living out of this. But yeah, I think most guys, or not most, but a lot of guys do need that guidance when it comes to dating, because unless you spend the time learning about male and female psychology, the intersexual dynamics, you won't really know why this is this and why that is that. And because relationships are such a big part of everybody's life, everybody wants to be better at this. Most people don't
Hmm.
get the results they want. Most people wish they could attract, higher quality, more attractive women. And with the life that I've had and the results that I've had in my dating life, I had a lot of experience to speak on, and I basically put that in my videos my with the understanding of the dating marketplace that I had, and did well, and since then I've just been pushing on as I am.
Mm. So how would you reflect on the difference between where you are now in your kind of understanding of dating and women versus where you were like before you started looking at content, like dating content and stuff like that?
Do you mean in terms of what I've learned personally?
Yeah, like what was your starting point in terms of your experience with women and dating?
Again, like I said, I've always had a pretty good experience with girls. I mean, I've had a few heartbreaks, whatever most guys do, but because I've always been in good shape, look after myself, I've always done pretty like well with girls. I won't lie, which is why I was able to draw these experiences. But back then, I was a bit more naive, a bit more, we'll say, like simpy. I didn't know how to act as a man. I didn't really know what they wanted from me. I was kind of, I would fall through these relationships hoping for the best, not really knowing how I should act. I knew that as a man I should lead, I should do things, but again, I was very laid back. I was very much in this like I want a 50-50 partnership, which I don't believe exists at all compared to now. Again, I want the traditional partnership. I want I provide for her. She does everything else domestically. I think that works very well, and that not everybody wants that life. Fair enough, but that's the life that I want because I'm building a business here. It's doing well, and I need that support. I don't have time to be doing things in the house. So with my girlfriend, she supports me completely, which she's amazing. She cooks, cleans, uh, takes essentially all the things I don't have time to do. She will do for me, which is exactly what I want. And in return, she gets taken care of. She gets looked after. She doesn't have to worry about money and things like that, which is great. And because of that, I've never had such a dynamic that works so well. I've never had this partnership where it's genuinely very fulfilling. It's genuinely amazing, I would say. And I think most guys do want this, but they don't know how to achieve it, and they don't know what it actually entails.
Yeah, for sure. Like it sounds like you have that kind of submissive woman. Like obviously that word triggers a lot of girls in particular. But how have you gone about creating that in your own life? Would you say?
Being the man that warrants that behavior, most guys don't realize that in order to achieve a certain caliber of woman, you have to become a certain caliber of man. Being an average man is no longer good enough in today's society. I always say this. You can't be in average shape. You can't really have average earning income. You can't be an average looking guy. Not really, because if you want an average or below average girl, then fair enough. But most guys, even to demand certain things, if you want to set certain boundaries and you want to have certain respect in your relationship, being average won't get you that. You actually have to be outperforming most men, which isn't as hard as what it seems. Because once you're in decent shape, once you're ambitious and you're aiming towards something, you have this purpose, you have this mission, and you have this masculine energy. You lead, she follows. You're very sure about yourself and what you want from life. She will follow. She will, submit to you, and she will give you the partnership you want. But of course, that takes constant work, constant maintenance. I know the burden of performances on me as a man. I know that she is a constant reflection of me. I understand that. I'm completely okay with the burden, like I say, of that. I know that if I'm being lazy, if I'm slipping up, if I'm not taking care of myself, she will reflect that. She will be combative. She'll be hard work. She will test me more and more. I understand that, and I'm fully willing to take on that responsibility. Most men these days, I don't want to generalize, but there's a lot of men who they're not willing to put in the effort. They're quite happy to take a back seat, yeah, and let their partner lead, which fine, whatever dynamic you want, you go for that. But then you have to understand if you're putting your partner in a masculine position where she has to make decisions, she has to think for herself, you're not going to get this feminine, girly girl who's going to be all giggly and submissive around you. You won't get that. You have to become the guy that she would, submit for or submit to, we'll say. And submission, like you say, is a bit of a weird word because when my partner submits to me, it's not like she's bowing down on her fucking knees looking up to me.
Mhm.
It's like she respects me, she trusts my authority, she trusts my direction in life, which is the way things have always been. Look at your grandparents, they probably have this exact dynamic where the grandmother, she doesn't question the grandfather, she goes, okay, I trust you, I'll listen to what you say. Women, I think they need that masculine guidance. It's not to say that they can't think for themselves, but I've made videos saying your girlfriend will come to you saying, which dress should I wear? She knows which dress she's going to wear, but she wants you to give her that final verdict. Again, it's the masculine direction she wants from you. And if you're the sort of guy who sits there and goes, oh, I don't know, you wear what you want,
Mhm.
it's like, well, that's not going to do anything. That's not going to serve any purpose. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's like a big contributing factor to the fact that so many girls are cheating nowadays? Like just that lack of masculine leadership in relationships. Like obviously they'll stay in a relationship for a certain length of time, but the default setting for a woman obviously is to be feminine, to be in that feminine submissive role. So if they're having to choose, like if they're having to be in that masculine role because the guy's not stepping up, it's gonna cause like issues in the relationship.
I think there's a number of reasons why people cheat more often these days, especially women. I think it's the access they have, i.e., they have social media. Most men don't realize the amount of attention women get on social media, which is why I'm such a big proponent of you and your partner not really being active on social media if you want it to work. I think that's a very fair and clear boundary you two should have because it's not coming from a place of insecurity. It's just that what if your partner's remotely attractive, even if she's an average looking woman, she's going to get constantly hit up by men, and women are emotional beings. All it takes for you to have a fallout, an argument that goes on for a couple of days, she gets hit up by some guy who is, higher value than what you are, and then her head's getting turned. Now, that is hypergamy. That is a woman's nature. It is what it is. You must protect her from that, I believe. And with Instagram as well, like we said, men, they don't really offer that much, which is partly a man's fault. Um, Not entirely, I would say. Where look at a traditional relationship 50, 60 years ago. A man could earn an average salary and he could take care of the family. She would then look up to him as the authority. He takes care of her, he takes care of the family, she respects him. Whereas these days, women are forced to work, and it's very difficult for a woman to work most jobs and not become very masculine. So when she's in this masculine position, she's at work all day, she's around competitive masculine men. When she comes home, how likely is it that she's going to be able to switch off from this masculine frame of mind that she's in? It's unlikely. So then when she's looking at her partner, who maybe as masculine as her, it's not enough. Attraction comes from polarity. You need to polarize. And if you two are neutral, which is very common in relationships these days, you have these neutral partnerships where they're basically friends who occasionally have sex. Long term, she won't respect you. She won't look up to you, and that's when her head will be turned when she looks up to the guy who is more masculine, more assertive, more dominant. And it's not like you can't date a masculine woman and get results. But I say to my clients, if you're going to date a masculine woman, you have to be more masculine than her. She has to look up to you. That's why affairs in the workplace are so common, because she's looking up to her boss as the alpha of that group, the masculine of that environment. Then she comes home to a partner, like I say, who, even if he's quite masculine, it doesn't really cut it, because she's been comparing him to the man at work. And then obviously this is not a fast process, but over the course of time, you can imagine she starts to distance herself more. She starts to look at her partner as more of like a friend. The attraction starts to wane, and then she's considering her other options. She's looking in her DMs, she's looking at guys at work, she's flirting with guys, things that she would have previously shut down. I've got a boyfriend. She's now not saying this. So yeah, very common. So it's up to men to become the man where that sort of shit isn't going to happen, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously, I work in the clubbing scene, so I get to see everything that goes on in terms of female nature, like girls that have got boyfriends getting with other guys and all the rest of it. Like, as soon as a girl has of like, number one, the opportunity or the access, and then number two is fueled with alcohol and is being impulsive. Obviously, you put the two together, and it doesn't. You don't need to be a mathematician to work out the end result. So, um, what would you say is like the reason for so many girls getting into relationships with guys that aren't really, doing anything in their life? They're not leveling up.
Guys they really want to be with
Basically,
long term. Yeah, well, I call these men placeholders. You'll see that women often, they get into relationships not because they view this man as he's the best I can do. More often it's because he's convenient, he will do for now. And I don't even think it's a conscious thing. I think women will, like men do as well, so not just women, but they will often put themselves in these situations where the guy, he'll give her sex, he'll give her a cuddle, he might take her out for food, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's not the guy that she would really ideally settle down with long term, which again is why you find I think that when a woman is unhappy in her relationship, you'll see her put herself in more situations where she could market herself, meet more guys, the club, the bar, going out with friends, whatever it is. Because in my experience, when a woman is completely happy and satisfied in the relationship, she doesn't care about going out. If she's going to see her friends, they'll go for a coffee, they'll do something at each other's houses. They're not going to go in a loud, busy club where there's going to be guys hitting on them, because why would she want to put herself in that situation? Once in a blue moon, whatever, but I don't believe that most people go to the club to blow off steam. I think there's a hidden motive there where they are
illusion.
going there for attention. Even if I'm being honest with myself, if I go to the club, I know I'll get a few girls to look at me. Do I enjoy the validation? Yes, which is exactly why I think it's disrespectful for me to put myself in that situation routinely, as I wouldn't expect my partner to put herself in that situation. We're only human, we enjoy validation, we enjoy attention. And who gets more attention than anybody else? Women. It's very addictive. It's like when I get a viral video, I sit refreshing that shit all day. It feels good. Now, if you're a woman who has access to that at your local pub, at your local club, best believe you're going to go out every single weekend and experience that. And when these women or when women are in these relationships and they're not completely satisfied, again, I think that they're waiting for the next best thing until
Mm.
the better contender comes along who she thinks this guy's better, which is why you see girls, they move on very fast. It's not like they've actually fallen out of love in the space of one day or a week. It's they checked out of the relationship months and months ago. You didn't have a clue, but then come the time of breaking up, she's already been considering other guys. She's already been chatting to other guys in the background that you're not aware of. You two break up within the space of a few weeks, a month. She's on dates. She's now exclusive with some other guy. You're thinking, what the fuck? Where's this came from? But it's because you were oblivious to this thing the entire time, which is part of the reason why I teach. Session number 2, pardon me. Session number 2 is dissecting the female desire. That's what I teach my clients because I think it's very important to understand male and female psychology about why we do what we do, why when she says this, she really means this, and vice versa. And most guys don't have this understanding. It's crazy how many guys come to me who don't have this understanding. I'm a bit naive to it now because I'm in this world of dating. I assume
Mm.
everybody else has this understanding. I
Yeah.
assume it's pretty obvious. But then you see the comments that are being left on my videos, and it's like, bro, is this not very obvious to you what the situation is? I posted a video yesterday or the day before saying, if you've been cheated on, it is most likely your fault as a man. And people will even comment saying like, well, why did Will Smith get cheated on? Just because he has social status and money, that means fuck all. If his personality is very feminine, submissive, not very masculine, allows Jada to disrespect him, takes her back after she cheated on him, after she spoke about very disrespectful things, still pining for Tupac and other guys. If you then
Mhm.
take her back, then what do you expect? The boundaries that guys allow to be walked over, this is what will cause her to look elsewhere to cheat. It's all well and good setting boundaries with your partner, but if you're not willing to walk away or adhere to them, then be prepared for the consequences, i.e., she loses respect for you. I'm a big proponent of setting boundaries, but you can't just set the boundary. You have to demonstrate, I will and I can walk away if you don't respect me, because obviously this partnership will not work. It will not sustain itself if you do not respect me and my boundaries. And a lot of the issues that guys face simply comes down from their inability to walk away because of their lack of their abundance mindset. They're afraid to walk away. They're afraid to start fresh, meet somebody new. They think they can't do it. But if you worked on yourself as a man, you're ambitious, you had something you were working towards, whether that's your career, a business, you're in good shape, you would see the multitude of options. You don't have to be 6'5". You don't have to be really built. All you have to be is a guy who shows that he's driven and has a greater purpose. When I'm going around the gym, as arrogant as it sounds, I'm very focused on my workout, but I see the girls staring at me. You can feel them because I'm one of the few guys that isn't perving on girls. They then
Mhm.
look at you. Why is this guy not looking at me? Why
Yeah.
doesn't he want to stare at me? Why isn't he giving me attention? And yeah, I think in them situations, if I went up to a girl in the gym and was starting a conversation, it would be very easy to go on a date. I could have a girlfriend in the space of a week, mate, if I really wanted to. If I was single again, once you understand this shit and you're in a good position as a man, it's not hard. And because so few men are actually working on themselves, it's very easy to stand out. There you go. That was a long-winded version of your of the answer to the question.
No, you spitted a lot of facts there. I think just current current dating market, especially with obviously online dating and stuff like that, is um gives girls a lot more opportunity and access to the guy that they want. Because obviously something that's said online a lot is that women only find 20% of guys like sexually attractive. Um, no, obviously
It's even less than that, mate. They'll
even less so.
the
Like,
data.
go on.
Yeah, go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's a lot of girls that are in relationships with guys that they don't find sexually attractive. And what are your thoughts on that in terms of the importance of having your sexual needs met, and if you don't have your sexual needs met as a woman, like what are the kind of consequences of that?
Well, this is basic female nature. You'll see usually two different approaches to her sexual strategy. Now, for the viewers watching, her sexual strategy is how she gets her needs met. Now, most women, they want the guy who is the masculine, dominant, attractive, assertive, and can take care of her. That is the dream scenario for a woman, where it's her dream guy. But most times they have to settle for having one guy for one thing and one guy for another thing, i.e., the guy at the club, the one time fling who's very attractive, he's tall, he's confident, he's very assertive. That's her fun. That's who she finds sexually attractive. That's who she wants to have kids with. That's who she'll go with home with on the first time she's met him. That's who she'll break rules for. Whereas the pardon me. Whereas the other approach they go for is the long term provider. Now, an easy way to assess which category you're in as a guy. Does she make rules for you or does she break rules for you? Because if she's making rules for you, she sees you as the safe option. She sees you as the safe bet, the long term provider, the beta guy. There's a term, alpha fucks, beta bucks, and that basically means
Hmm.
the alpha guy, he sleeps with the woman, the beta guy, he is the financial support. And the stat was something like one third of men who have children with a woman, it's not even his child, which tells us that she's
One third.
settling down. What one third, yeah, which tells us that a woman is settling down with a man because he has the resources, the money, whatever it is, can take care of her. But because she doesn't really find him sexually attractive, she's getting the genes, the DNA that she wants from this like one time fling guy. Which, as a man, you need to become that both guys essentially if you want the best from her. If you want to be a player and go out there and just fulfill that function from her, fair enough, go and do it, but it's not fulfilling. You're going to ruin a lot of girls. You're going to ruin her ability to bond to good guys in the future. But if you want to do that, it will be fun. You will get an ego boost. It will give you validation. That's what I did through my early 20s, my late teens. Pretty much all I did was just date girls casually, and it's funny because you'll date these girls and you'll go home with them first time you've met them, whatever. But a lot of them, they don't even try and see you again because they understand you're not gonna see them again. I've had a few girls that we had an amazing first date. Obviously, came back to my house and then they weren't really bothered about meeting me again because they wanted boyfriends, and you can tell they know that you're not really serious about this, so they just see
Hmm.
you as the one time fun thing. Whereas
Yeah.
guys who don't have game, guys who aren't attractive, they try and play this nice guy role. They play the long term provider role, and they think that will fulfill her. I mean, yeah, it will fulfill one portion of her sexual strategy, as I'm saying, but you have to understand that whilst you're with this girl, she's then looking elsewhere. She's looking at other guys, going, "Yeah, he's hot. I'd love to, be with him." Blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean, I observe this all the time with women who settle down with guys purely out of the long-term provider function. Whilst you see them in clubs, chatting to other guys, flirting with other guys, getting with other guys, which tells you they're not satisfied, mate. Like a lot of guys come to me and say, "Oh, if she's a bad girl, she'll cheat." End of. But it's like when a woman is genuinely bonded to you and genuinely views you as the best she can do, the best man that she has access to, she won't go out. She won't put herself in these situations. She'll be very respectful. She'll check her own behavior. She would do nothing to risk losing this relationship, which is exactly what I'm experiencing. This relationship I'm in has never been easier. My girlfriend, she sets her own boundaries. She checks her own behavior. She went inactive on Instagram herself. She doesn't put herself in these positions. Her friends say, "Do you want to come out to the club?" She says, "If my boyfriend can come and he wants to, I'll come with you." Little things like that, which most guys
Hmm.
wouldn't even think of experiencing or haven't experienced, is it's a pretty big sign of which category you're in. And like I say, if you want the best out of her, you must try and become both guys. The long term provider who can take care of her, but and the fun, exciting, maybe one time thing who gave her a chance. That's how I view things.
Mm. So, like, obviously, I would say the majority of guys are in that kind of beta category. Would you say the majority of the clients that you work with are in that category? How do you go about helping them to become the man that you talk about, or the man that you are?
Not at all. You'd be surprised. The clients who come to me, a lot of them are very masculine. They're very like alpha. They are in very good shape. They're very attractive, which is why when they come to me, I'm sometimes a bit confused. But what you find is you find that guys can be very confident, very assertive in their place of work. They're very competent, guys respect them and look up to them. But sometimes when they're in relationships, because of their lack of understanding of game and female nature and male nature, they get taken advantage of. They think they have to play this nice guy role. So what I've observed is they can be this, alpha in their workplace, but then they come into the relationships and they become a bit softer because they think that's what she wants. Now, it's not that these guys aren't masculine, it's that they find it hard to translate that masculine authority into their relationships. Well, part of what I teach them is, you have to be that guy to everybody. If you want to be good with girls, you want to be charismatic. You're not just charismatic with her. You can't just switch this charisma on when you want to be with a woman. You're charismatic to everybody. You are that guy with everybody. Everybody looks up to you. Everybody respects you. And then that becomes your personality. So a lot of it is me teaching them game, like I say, intersexual dynamics, how they should behave, what they shouldn't tolerate, boundaries, how to set them, where to meet girls, dating apps, how to maintain your partner, polarity, attraction, blah blah blah, how to get the best out of her. So yeah, there's very few guys who come to me who are actually completely lost. Most of them have a baseline level of experience where they know how they want to be, they know what they want to achieve and what sort of girl they want, but they don't know exactly how to maintain that. A lot of guys can attract a certain woman, but they can't keep her around because they don't know how to and they don't offer enough, or it's not exciting enough. They're a bit boring. Again, they fall into that nice guy category because they think that's the only way to sustain her. It's really not. How you start is usually what you should maintain, because whatever attracted her in the first place, that's typically what you should maintain. Guys often lose themselves in relationships. They become complacent, lazy. They think, oh, I have the girl now. I no longer need to put in the work to maintain her. No, that's completely wrong. It's actually the opposite. It's far harder to maintain a good woman than it is to attract her, which is exactly why I'm saying I could find a girlfriend next week. Could I keep her? I think I could, and I'm confident in my ability, but most guys probably not. So that is the difference that I believe.
Mm. Why do you think these guys struggle to keep girls? Because obviously you said that the majority of people that come to you are kind of alpha type of guys. Obviously, there's a lot of simps that are in relationships that seem to be able to keep girls. So what is it that kind of stops them from being able to keep girls, would you say?
I'd say it's their understanding of frame. Now, frame exists in every relationship, in every dynamic. Frame, you have to think about it as not as power, but as whose reality do you exist in. In your friendship group, if you're in a group of guys, and the viewers can relate to this, there's usually always a guy who leads, who says, I'm doing this, we're going here, we're going there. That is typically the guy who runs the frame. You're in his frame. Now, this exact dynamic exists in relationships. Do you look to her for answers, or does she look to you? Do you ask her, where do you want to go to eat? What do you want to do today? Does she tell you what she wants to do? Does she tell you where she wants to go? That's typically masculine traits, which
Mm.
will, it's likely that if she's being masculine, you're being feminine. It's not how you maintain a relationship. You,
Sorry.
you have to be able to polarize. That's fine, but you have to be able to polarize, like I say, create that attraction, maintain it. And frame is a big thing, being able to be playful. I am very rarely serious with my girlfriend, and this is the exact dynamic that I teach to guys. I say that about 80% of the time you should be in this playful, fun, teasing state with her. You're in a state of play, it's fun. And then 20% of the time you become the authority, you become the daddy. Because most women, if they have that man in their life, who do they respect the most? Who do they look up to? It's their dad. So you must become that dad, father figure. There's a reason why the daddy kink is such a big thing. There's a reason why so many guys and girls are into it, because she loves the idea of looking up to a masculine man, being told what to do. But I think with, Me Too and all this bullshit in society, guys are afraid to be very masculine. They're afraid to tell her what to do, when really they don't understand that even masculine or even a masculine or intelligent woman, she still wants to be told what to do. My partner is very intelligent. She was, I wouldn't say masculine before she met me, but she was certainly more on the masculine spectrum, because she's doing a very difficult degree. She has the potential to earn a lot of money. So she didn't really need me. But because I knew how to act, I knew how to elicit the best response from her. When I'm giving her little orders and being playful, I'm teasing her, go and get this for me, please. Go and do this for me. I'm making her an asset in my life. She then looks up to me as the authority. She respects me more. And then that in combination with the play, if the guys can maintain that, life becomes easy, mate. Like for me, it's literally rinse and repeat now with my girlfriend. It's very easy, and because of the position that I've put both me and her in, it's easy. Like I say, it's easy. She wants to come in. Can I get you anything? Do you want a coffee? Do you want a sandwich? Can I make your bed? Can I hoover for you? All these little things because she understands that the more she supports me on my mission, the more she gets looked after, which is the exact plan because we're looking to basically move abroad at some point, and I will be, you know, responsible for her entirely. And the way she'll offer value in return for me, she already works for me, but she'll be working for me full time. She'll be running my socials, posting for me, admin, blah blah blah. Because guys shouldn't be afraid to be gentlemen. You should absolutely be a gentleman, but guys will confuse and conflate being a gentleman with being a simp now. The
Mm.
definition of being a simp is when the value is not reciprocated in return. You know, if I pay for a meal, we're going for food tonight, me and my girlfriend. I'm not going to expect her to then pay for a meal in return for me, but I would expect her to then show that value and demonstrate that value in other ways. She cooks for me, she makes a meal for me, she tidies my room, she cleans the house, whatever it is. That's how I expect the value to be reciprocated. I pay for you, you make my life easier in other ways. In other ways, it's up to you to decide how you want her to reciprocate that value. That is not simping. That's called being a gentleman. I would consider myself a gentleman. I look after my partner. I'm very nice. I'm very kind. But do I allow her to take advantage of me, or would I ever put myself in a position where she could? Absolutely fucking not, because I control the relationship. I run the frame. I have her best interest in mind, and you know, I will consider what she wants, but I dictate the relationship, not in a controlling way, but in a I know what's best for us. And if you want to be on my team, this is my vision of my life. Jump on board. If you don't agree with me, you know, get off at the next stop, sort of thing. And you don't have to be with me. Again, the power of being able to walk away is very, very important in a relationship, because when you show her this is when she'll truly respect you, truly look up to you, because if she knows you can walk away, she knows you have other options. She knows that you're with her, not because you need to be, but because you choose to be, which is very, very important in creating that masculine, feminine dynamic in the respect.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Like having that ability to walk away is absolutely like fundamental, I think, to any successful relationship because obviously when anything is going down, she's gonna know that you're the guy basically who's gonna walk away, and I think majority of guys aren't in that position where they're willing to walk away. So what is it you think that kind of stops guys from having that ability to walk away, and how do you help those guys?
The reason why most guys can't walk away is usually because they have a lack of understanding of the value they could have as a man, because most guys have not really dedicated any period of time to self-improve. They've not gotten lean, they've not had a low body fat, they've not seen abs, they've never gotten rid of a double chin, they've never seen how attractive they can be, they've never tried to improve their understanding of men and women, they've barely touched a book, they have no ambition in their life, they take life as it comes rather than having somewhat control. You know, a lot of guys will mentally masturbate and they'll watch this certain content online about Lamborghinis, money, holidays, women. But if they really wanted it, they could have it, but they make no steps to achieve that. I think it's very, very important that if you have a certain goal in mind, a vision of your life, you must take the steps required to achieve that. Behind me, you can't see this, but I have posters all over my walls. I have goals, money earning goals, I have content goals, follower goals, lifestyle goals. I have a letter to myself
Mm.
written on the wall, the exact lifestyle that I want. And guess what? When a few years ago, I used to go for runs and zone out and think about having 100,000 followers. Guess what happened a few months later? It fucking happened. I used to dream about making over 10k a month. Guess what? It fucking happened because I was putting in the work and I had that vision of my life. And now, because I'm so focused on my business, my career, my partner just becomes an asset to my life. She becomes almost like I don't want to say a side piece. That's the wrong way to phrase it. But if I'm focused forward, she can then look to me. I think most guys, the reason why they can't walk away is because they make this girl their entire life. They put all
Yeah.
of their eggs in this basket. They make her the center of the universe for him. And obviously, you become needy. You become dependent. You're never going to be able to walk away if your life is this woman, if when you finish work, the first thing you do is go and see her, get a takeaway, skip the gym, you don't see your friends, yes, you're going to become unhealthily attached. Yes, you're going to become scared to walk away. Why would you expect any less? This is why you need to have a focus and a purpose greater than her, because only then will you be able to get the best from her. And, knowing yourself that even if this doesn't work out, I'll survive, I'll be okay. I love my girlfriend, but I know that if this didn't work out, so be it. It is what it is. I'll move on. I'll be okay. Not because I wouldn't be upset or because, I don't think she's a great asset in my life, but because I understand that if I'm to put 100% of my focus on her, she can't respect that. No woman wants to be the focus of a man's life. Whatever she'll tell you, she does not want to be this. This is exactly why she'll chase the guy, she'll bond to the guy and obsess over the guy who doesn't really need her or want her, because it demonstrates his value, his options, and his ability to walk away. So if guys put themselves in this position where they had something going for them other than this girl, then they would find their results in dating a million times better.
Yeah, man. Like I think it comes down to purpose at the end of the day. So like if you're completely committed to your purpose, obviously for you it's dating coaching, but broader than that is impacting and changing people's lives, which is obviously like a big responsibility, a big pressure to take on. And so I think any girl want really, if they're in an ideal world, they want the guy who is willing to sacrifice himself in order to help other people and to impact lives. And obviously, if you're devoting your entire life to keeping her happy, then you're not leveling up yourself. You're not focusing on helping other people. So as you say, like I think every girl ideally wants that one guy who puts his kind of legacy and impact in lives above her, and she understands that that's where the priorities lie. As you say, like no girl really wants to be the central focus of a guy's life because, as you say, like women are emotional beings. They want to go away and do lots of different things. That's like their feminine nature, really, is to blossom and to be like butterflies. So if they're the central focus, they feel very like trapped and suppressed. So yeah, like where can people find you? Like what are your plans for the future and stuff like that?
So my main platform where you'll find me, I would say, is Instagram, Matthew Hyman underscore. That's Matthew with one T, MATHEWHYMAN underscore. That's my main platform. TikTok, I'll have a much bigger following, but TikTok is like, it's not as interactive, not as personal. I'm now on Facebook, I'm now on Twitter, same names, just search my name. YouTube as well, longer form content, my step-by-step guides. Plans for the future, continue to scale. I have around 20 clients at the moment, so I'm looking to do group coaching at some point. Once that exceeds, I'd say 30, I'm going to move into group coaching. I want to build a community of guys, maybe have some sort of Discord server, chat, whatever, where guys can communicate with each other and help each other out. Again, looking to move abroad in the future and yeah, just build this life of abundance that I want for myself and freedom. I'm halfway there. Long form is where I want to put my focus. I upload YouTube videos, but not as consistently as what I should do. That's going to be my focus. Podcasts, I have an entire studio. I need to make use of it. I want to get guests up in person, do my own podcasts, because I think guys get a lot of value from this. So yeah, as far as that, just continue to help guys because this is guys wanting to get better results dating and be a better man is never going to be not an issue in society. It's always going to exist. So as long as the world doesn't explode, then I'll always have a job, and I'm only going to gain more traction, more following. So I'll be here to stay for anybody watching me.
Awesome. Thank you for jumping on. Obviously, you shared a lot of valuable knowledge in today's podcast. I think just generally with the current dating market and the huge amount of kind of simps and people, guys that just don't generally understand female nature. I think what you're doing is extremely valuable and going to help a lot of guys to get more significance in their life, because obviously relationships are huge, are do have a massive impact in your life. As much as you, as a guy, like, you want to be in shape, you want to be successful, you want to make money, all the rest of it. Like, if you don't have good relationships in your life, then it's going to have a big impact. Obviously, as you see with a lot of these celebrities that have, a lot of status, but don't necessarily have that submissive woman. So I think that is kind of very important, very key to living a fulfilling life. So I appreciate you jumping on, sharing your knowledge. And thank you guys, obviously, for watching. If you do want to get into contact with Matt, go follow him on Instagram. Go check out his socials. Leave a like for this, for the algorithm on this video, and I'll speak to you all soon.